Welcome back to Gruden Motor Company. Today is the monumental day when we take out the last of the 3 Chinese barn find Roadsters. This one will be VIN 1146, and we're pretty excited. What we're hoping for here is that this out of 3 will be the last one that may have the service plug in the battery pack, which would allow us to prove that these 18650 cell packs can last for 13 years in storage. Don't get your hopes up though, but we're going to try it. So let's go check out this Roadster. There were 3 sea containers here. One has already been disposed of, and the remaining 2, this one's empty, and this one has that 3rd very orange VIN 1146 Roadster. So let's open this up and see what we've got in here. Now remember, these Roadsters have been sitting here for 13 years inside sea containers. There we go. And Brian's going to help me. Now, first thing we're going to have to do is remove this crate, which, remember, this may be the 4th Roadster because there's a mysterious 4 Roadsters that were sold to this Chinese company. Okay, we'll get the forklift and get ready to pull that one out.
I'm curious about the 4th Roadster now. I didn't know anything about that one. The 3 I knew about, but the 4th I didn't. We got pieces for a 4th one. It'll be very interesting.
What we expect to find in this crate will be the parts off the 4th mysterious Roadster. What we know so far is there is no battery pack, there is no power electronics module, there is no chassis. But preliminary analysis indicate that we've got fenders, body parts, interior parts. So it'll be interesting to see how this 4th one survived their autopsy attempt in China. So first thing we do is we take these airbags on either side, we open them up and we let some of that air out. And as you can see, they protected these cars fairly well, preventing any kind of side shifting in a number of different ways. They've got tie downs on all 4 wheels. They have these airbags in 3 different locations. And then they've got wheel chocks that prevent it from rolling. And what I picture is an ocean-going vessel with a lot of waves and a lot of movement, and it keeps those cars secure. And it is definitely a very orange Roadster with some PPF applied. It's hot in here.
A little bit.
No, the storage sea containers were 40-footers. These are 20-footers. It was transferred. Ah, they got a knot on this one.
Well, this one, Pete, the 12 volt is not in it.
Oh, really? Okay. Come on.
Yeah, there's no 12 volt in there at all.
Little tow rope. Yep, there we go.
You just reach in.
Yeah. This one looks a little rusty.
Okay. Yeah, we need 2 of those. We're going to go to the edge, and then I'm going to come up under.
There we go.
Okay, coming back.
Yep. 6 inches.
surprisingly hot today. In Phoenix, we're supposed to have cooler weather now. Coming down. So, compared to the other two, this one appears to be the roughest one so far in a number of categories. One is the yellowing in the clear carbon fiber is more severe than it was in the other two. Traditionally, conventional wisdom was that yellowing was caused by ultraviolet radiation interacting with an inferior resin used in carbon fiber. It turns out that probably is not the case, since these were in complete dark for 13 years. So there's some aging issues there, it looks like. With pressure washing, what we're going to do is knock off all the dirt and grime and even some of that loose PPF that is delaminating or peeling. Once we clean it up and it gets pushed in, then we're going to open it up, and we're going to use a laptop to go into the firmware and into the computer, which will then tell us exactly when it got bricked, what the condition of the battery is, and what the odometer mileage is. So far we've seen 109 miles on the first one, 104 miles on the second one. It'll be interesting to see what this one records. These cars were never titled and never went into ownership. What we found out later was that the first generation Tesla Roadsters were test driven to 30 miles and then turned over to the owners. Later on, in the later VINs, they found they had some quality problems, so they extended the test drive time to 100 miles, and that's why we're seeing 100 mile plus on these. Gesundheit. But what we'll do from here, these cars will clean up just fine. We'll put it up on a lift. We'll check what kind of damage might be inside the car from either rodents or just aging. And it'll be remarkable what a car like this can turn into once it goes through a repair and a refurbishing process. All of that yellowing on that carbon fiber, first of all the PPF comes off, so the flaking is gone. Then the resin, or the yellowed resin, gets sanded off, and from there it gets a proper clear coat. The paint is quite restorable, since it really has no wear and tear on it other than years of dirt and grime. And that front bumper is also quite repairable. So this car will eventually be gleaming and glistening. It's kind of interesting seeing it now and seeing it what it will be later. So the brand new Tesla Roadsters delivered to customers typically look like this, except for this panel here, which was removed to deal with a battery in the front. But typically a customer got these three boxes, one of them being the 240 volt charge cable, the 120 volt charge cable, and let's see here. Oh, this is the 240 volt charge cable. Okay, so we've got something else in here. Oh, this is the charge adapter for Chinese power. They ended up getting, they sold these with an adapter for the 240 volt, which was a 50 amp 240 volt connector. The pouch here is for the soft top, and until we get into the crates, we do not know whether there are any hard tops that came with these Roadsters. There may not be. But we plan to do the inventory of the two crates that came in the sea containers, which we believe have parts for the fourth mysterious Roadster, which is yet to be found. All we have is fenders, body panels, interior trim, no battery pack, and no power electronics module. So it looks like at least the autopsy of these cars begun with that fourth mysterious Roadster, and then they kept the rest of the parts from the car in these sea containers with the 3 that were still intact. So one of our technicians was able to gain access into the cabin, and what we're finding here is kind of interesting. Unlike the carbon fiber on the outside, which is yellowed, you can see the carbon fiber trim pieces on the interior look very much intact. But what we're seeing here that's different than the other Roadsters is a level of either debris or, well, no, it looks like it's coming off. Okay, some dusting on the metal portions of that door sill. If you note too, the plastic portion of that airbag inside the center of the steering wheel appears to have suffered some sort of degradation, along with the 2 vent louvers in the center. And what we saw in the other Roadsters was a discoloration very much like tan leopard skin. In this case, it looks more like the after effects of a corrosion or a corrosive environment. Here you can see that there must have been some humidity, that these mounting screws have some flash rust on them. They would normally have been zinc plated. And what will happen next is we will completely clean this car and then take a look to see what, if any, deterioration occurred to the trim panels on the interior of the car. The next thing that we want to look at is the service plug. I'm going to need a light. I've got a flashlight over there, but let's try this thing. All right, I can see it. So what we were hoping for was that at least one of the cars would have had the service plug pulled on the main ESS battery pack, which would have been interesting because we would then find out whether 13 years of storage for a multi-cell 18650 battery pack would allow those cells to survive. All 3 of these Roadsters, though, had their service plugs inserted, which means they continue to drain the battery, trying to keep the electronics alive in the car, so there's not a chance that this battery pack is going to be reusable or recoverable. So part of our dispositioning these vehicles is that we record everything that we come across, and this is an interesting new twist. This is the 120 volt 15 amp charge cable used on a Tesla Roadster, and this one actually has markings which may give us a clue as to who the original Chinese company was that purchased these and then abandoned them at the dock in Guangdong. So we'll investigate these numbers and check the Tesla community to see if they know anything about this or if this was a Tesla technician. Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll discover how many miles are on the Roadster, examine the external condition, and discuss the next steps. Thank you for joining us.